Hey, what's up, Facebook? It's me, Chris. I know I'm a day late with sharing this information with you, and I apologize for that. But bear with me for a few minutes. I'll try not to be too long. I just got off a plane from Denver, Colorado. I was there less than 24 hours to experience something that changed my life. May not change yours, but it changed mine. Those that know my family, you're aware of my brother's family that was killed by a drunk driver some years ago. My brother, his wife, and his 4 children were all killed by a drunk driver on the Ohio Turnpike, just outside of Toledo, Ohio. And shortly after the funeral was over, about a week and a half or 2 later, I decided to go to Ohio because I wanted to see the freeway. I wanted to see the car. None of it made sense to me, the details of the accident, what have you. And my buddy Dennis Humphrey and I got there, and the freeway, I can't explain how horrible it was. The tire treads were still there. The guardrail was ripped open, the fence, the field. I mean, you can see this long stretch of, where the accident occurred. It was hard looking at this. It was very difficult. But we left the freeway and went to the car lot the tow yard where the car was taken to. Only to get there and find there was no car. There was just a pile of debris. And the only thing that stood out where you could recognize the car was the license plate, which was hanging from the car. And I stood there and I looked, and looking inside the car, I can see some things still in the car, like my niece's shoes and something my sister-in-law was wearing. But the thing that stood out the most to me of what was still in the car was this coat that belonged to my grandfather. My grandfather died in '78, and my father inherited the coat from my grandmother, and it was his coat after that. And Christopher Tate, my grandfather's name. But after my father got the coat, he gave the coat to my brother Kenny, who loved the coat. And all of my family members, they know about this infamous Christopher Tate coat. It's a family heirloom. But Kenny ended up with the coat. And somehow he had the coat on when he was driving. And I don't know if he took it off before he was killed or if they took it off of him and left it in the car. But the coat was still there, still intact. It was dirty, of course. It had been snowing, so it was wet. And there was some blood on the shoulder. And I took the coat out of the car, took it home, and I cleaned it. And the next day I called the car lot to thank the lady for letting us come to the car. But she told me that you came right on time because they actually demolished the car the day after we were there. And I was like, oh my God, had we not gone when we did, we wouldn't have gotten the coat out. So the coat became even more special to my family. So I kept the coat and cherished it and held on to this piece of my brother that, all I had left, basically. Fast forward over the years, at one point I lost my job, my place, and all that. So all my belongings went into a storage unit. And make that long story short, it got behind 4, 5, 6 months, and I couldn't afford it. So they put a padlock on the storage and told me that I couldn't get anything out of the storage unless I paid everything, and I had 24 hours to do it. I couldn't do it. Sorry, didn't have it. So needless to say, I lost it. Everything inside the unit. I even begged the man. I says, please, let me get one thing out of there. Please, please. He says no. And you can almost imagine I began to grieve all over again. Now the loss of this coat. How am I going to tell my family this coat is gone, Years go by, and fast forward to a month ago, my father and I were on the phone. My father lives in Denver, Colorado, and my father and I haven't seen him since '99, and we're not speaking for quite a while, sorry, but we're back together now talking. And for the first time, he asked me questions about the funeral and about what happened. My father didn't go to the funeral back then. And I told him all the details of the funeral and what we did and how it was, and it was horrible. And then he asked me about the car, and I was like, oh, he's going to ask about that coat. I just know it. So I beat him to the punch. I says, well, Grandpa's coat that I got out of the car. Sorry to have to tell you that I lost that coat years ago. You know, I told him about the storage unit, and I apologized for losing the coat. And my father stopped and says, "What are you talking about, Chris?" "I lost the coat. That's what I'm talking about." He says, "You didn't lose that coat." I says, "What do you mean?" He said, "You don't remember bringing me my daddy's coat? You brought the coat home to me." And now that he's mentioned it, I kind of remember, but you have to remember, so much was going on back then. I don't remember all the details. And he says, "Chris, that coat is here in Denver in my garage right now." I was numb from head to toe. I'm like, wow. All these years, I thought I lost the coat. And then comes the dilemma that I haven't seen my father in 14 years. How do I go about getting this coat from him? I want the coat back, you know. But before I could say anything, God stepped in. And my father, the next thing he said was that his health was failing. He's not doing well. And it would mean something to him if I came to see him and took the coat back home to D.C. So, needless to say, I bought a ticket right away. And yesterday, I flew to Denver. And I'm happy to say, here it is. This is my brother's coat that I thought I lost years ago. Not only did I get the coat, but my father gave me this, which was his original copy of the newspaper article announcing that my brother's family was killed. Homeward bound family killed in crash. And if that wasn't enough, more than anything, my father gave me my brother's flag. This symbolizes so much in the life of my brother and his family. But my father wanted me to have it here. And yesterday, my father and I, for the first time ever, went out to my brother's gravesite where his family's buried. I've been there many times, but my father came out there, and it was very difficult watching him break down. I've never seen him cry like that. My father broke down hard. And we stayed out there for about an hour and a half. It was a bit much. But I'm back home. I'm home. My children and I are fine. I got the coat. I got the flag. I got the article. I got my father. Still don't have my brother, but it's okay. You know. So I just want to close by saying this. I have brothers and sisters who are very much divided right now. You know, like a lot of your family members are probably too. Brothers and sisters I haven't seen and spoken to in years, and I'm just being transparent right now. I just want to say it would mean the world to me to be able to see all my brothers and sisters together again. Not at a funeral, but as a family. You know, I can't get Kenny back, or his wife, or his kids. All I can do right now for Kenny is go after articles and flags and coats and try to grasp any kind of memory I can. But I just want to tell everybody that's watching this, if you got brothers and sisters or a mother and father that something has come between you, get over it. Get over it. I don't care what it is. Life is so short. We don't know when our time is going to be up. And I would do anything in the world to get my brother back. You know, tell him I love him just one more time. But I can't. You have a chance to do it. Find your family. Find your family. Whether it was their fault or yours, who cares? I don't care what it is. Get it back while you can. Thanks for your time, you guys. I'm a little overwhelmed right now. This is a lot that's happened in the past day. But thank you for letting me share that with you. God bless you. In Jesus' name.